Have you ever noticed how some people seem to slow down after 70? And then, before they know it, life starts closing in around them? It's not always a sudden illness or a dramatic event. Sometimes the things that quietly chip away at life after 70 are small, invisible even, but they're powerful enough to shorten our lifespan without us realizing it. If you've ever looked around and wondered why so many friends, neighbors, even family members struggle to live beyond 80, you're not alone. And more importantly, it's not just genetics or bad luck. There are reasons. Real, surprising, fixable reasons. Today we're going to talk about 5 unexpected things that quietly steal years from our lives. These aren't the obvious ones you hear all the time, like smoking or skipping your doctor's appointments. No, these are more hidden, and once you spot them, you'll be able to do something about them, starting today. Because the truth is, many people over 70 could live longer, happier, healthier, but they fall into certain traps, and no one ever tells them they're doing it. Let's start with one of the biggest but least talked about reasons people struggle to live past 80, emotional isolation. Now, I'm not just talking about being physically alone. You can be married, surrounded by people, and still feel emotionally isolated. It's that silent feeling that your life isn't being seen anymore, that no one really understands you, that you're just there instead of truly living. And what happens next? You stop sharing, you stop opening up, you stop asking people how they're doing, and in return, they stop checking in with you too. The conversations get shorter, the days get quieter, and slowly, your mind, your motivation, your very spark starts to fade. But here's what's even more dangerous. Studies have shown that emotional isolation doesn't just affect your happiness. It physically damages your health. It raises inflammation in your body. It increases your risk of heart disease, dementia, even early death. In fact, researchers say that chronic loneliness is just as harmful as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. Isn't that wild? So if you're sitting there thinking, I've been fine on my own, ask yourself this: are you really connecting? Or are you just surviving? Because the first unexpected key to living past 80 is this: don't let the world shrink around you. Keep reaching out. Keep showing up for conversations. Call someone first. Ask the cashier how their day is. Share a story, even if no one asked. These tiny moments of human connection, especially after 70, are life-extending. And that brings us to the next surprising reason so many people don't make it past 80. They stop learning. Not in a classroom kind of way, but in the curious, playful, tell me something I didn't know kind of way. The moment we stop seeking newness, whether it's reading a new book, trying a different food, learning how to use a phone app, we begin to fade. Our brains crave stimulation like our muscles crave movement. Without it, we atrophy. And when the mind begins to slow, everything else soon follows. You've probably seen this happen before. Someone retires, settles into a quiet routine, and then the spark dims. They stop asking questions. They stop trying new things. But the people who live longer, they never stop being curious. Even if they move slower, they keep moving forward. Maybe it's learning to grow a new flower in the garden. Maybe it's reading about ancient Egypt. Maybe it's asking your grandchild what they're passionate about and really listening. Whatever it is, feed your brain like you'd feed your body. Because learning doesn't end when school does. It ends when we decide to stop. And that decision, my friend, has more power over your lifespan than most people ever realize. We just talked about emotional isolation and the danger of stopping our curiosity. But there's another quiet thief of longevity that sneaks up after 70. And it's something many seniors mistake for normal aging. It's moving less, without even realizing it. Now, I'm not saying you have to run marathons or do push-ups in the park, but here's what happens to so many people. After retirement, the daily structure disappears. There's no job to wake up for, no reason to get out of the house, no meetings or chores to rush to. So gradually, without meaning to, life becomes still. You sit longer, Walk less, stay in more. The stairs start to look intimidating, so you avoid them. And slowly your muscles weaken, not because of age, but because of disuse. And here's the key. Once your body senses it's not being used, it starts preparing for decline. Your balance, your strength, your heart health, they all begin to fade. And the scariest part is, many people think, I'm just getting old. But what's actually happening is this. The body is adapting to a new, slower lifestyle. One that leads to frailty, then falls, then hospital visits, and sometimes never fully bouncing back. But there's good news. It only takes a few minutes a day to change this path. Stretch while the coffee brews. Walk a few extra steps each time you get up. Use the stairs instead of the elevator when you can. Dance a little while you do the dishes. The point isn't what you do, it's that you keep doing something. Now, let's talk about another sneaky reason people don't live past 80. Something most people never realize is even hurting them. It's carrying invisible resentment. I know that might sound surprising, but let me ask you this. Is there something from your past you still replay in your mind? A grudge you've carried for years? A family member who hurt you, and you never fully forgave them, even if you smiled at the dinner table? Resentment is like a heavy coat that never comes off. You learn to live with it, but it weighs you down. And over time, it doesn't just impact your mood, it raises your stress hormones, weakens your immune system, and ages your heart. Literally. Some people hold on to anger because they think letting go means saying what happened was okay. But forgiveness isn't about excusing someone. It's about releasing yourself from the poison. You don't have to forget. You don't have to reconcile. But you do deserve peace. And if you're thinking, but they never apologized, here's the truth. Waiting for someone else to heal you is like waiting for the rain to stop before you build a roof. Forgiveness isn't for them. It's a gift you give yourself. Every year you carry old pain is a year your body absorbs it. And that shortens life. So maybe today is the day you say, I'm done letting this weigh me down. Not because they deserve it, but because you do. Now that we've unburdened some of those heavy emotional weights, let's move into something just as critical and often just as overlooked. You might be surprised to hear this next one, but it's true for more people than you think. And it's a lack of meaningful purpose. After 70, especially after retirement or after loved ones move away or pass on, a quiet question starts to creep in. What am I here for now? And if that question goes unanswered for too long, it starts eating away at your energy, your motivation, and yes, even your health. You see, purpose isn't just about having something to do. It's about having something to live for. It could be a reason to get out of bed in the morning, a project that brings you joy, someone who counts on you, or even a goal that excites you. Purpose keeps the mind sharp and the body in motion. And studies show that seniors with a clear sense of purpose live longer and report feeling more satisfied, more joyful, even when facing challenges. But here's the catch. Purpose doesn't knock on your door. You have to invite it in. Maybe you start a tiny garden in your window. Maybe you call one person each day just to brighten their afternoon. Maybe you write letters to your grandchildren, or pick up painting again, or volunteer at the animal shelter once a week. It doesn't have to be big. It just has to be yours. When we lose our sense of contribution, we begin to shrink. Not just physically, but emotionally and spiritually. And when we reclaim it, life begins to stretch again, with meaning. Now, speaking of shrinking, there's another invisible threat that quietly eats away at the lives of people over 70. And that's undereating or poor nutrition. This one is sneaky. Many older adults feel less hungry than they used to. Some eat out of habit. Others simply lose interest in cooking, for one. So they eat less, but not in a healthy way. They skip meals, grab easy snacks, or eat processed foods with little nutritional value. And here's what happens. Muscles start to fade faster. Energy drops, bones weaken, the immune system gets lazy. All because the body isn't being properly ready, even if you feel fine. You may not feel starving, but your cells might be, especially for things like high-quality protein, healthy fats, fresh vegetables, vitamin D, and B12. And without them, even something as small as the flu can knock you down harder than it should. So one simple change: eat intentionally. Not perfectly, not strictly, just with care. Fuel your body the way it deserves. Warm, hearty soups, eggs, colorful veggies, lean meats or beans. Simple, real food that gives back to you. Even a small bowl of oatmeal with some nuts and berries in the morning can change how strong you feel by the afternoon. You don't need a fancy diet. You just need nourishment. Now that we've uncovered these hidden barriers, loneliness, stillness, resentment, lack of purpose, and undernourishment, it's time to pull all of this together into something empowering. Let's talk about something that doesn't get enough attention: emotional weight. Not the kind you can see on a scale, but the kind you carry silently through the years. Regrets, guilt, old arguments never resolved, words you wish you'd said or wish you hadn't. And you might think, what does that have to do with living past 80? A lot more than you'd imagine. You see, emotional baggage doesn't just sit quietly in the background. It affects your sleep, your blood pressure, your digestion, your immune system, your hormones, everything. The body and the mind are never separate. And when the mind carries too much for too long, the body starts to feel it. Many seniors carry burdens they never talk about. Maybe it's a strained relationship with a child, or a mistake made decades ago that still stings. Maybe it's simply the sadness of lost time or missed opportunities. But here's the truth: you don't have to carry it forever. Letting go doesn't mean forgetting. It means setting yourself free from the constant replay. It means accepting that the past can't be changed, but the present still belongs to you. It means being kind to yourself. Not because you've never made mistakes, but because you have, and you learned. You can release the weight in small ways. Writing it out, talking it out, even just admitting to yourself that you're ready to be done carrying it. Because emotional healing isn't just about the heart, it's about longevity. Peaceful people often live longer, not by accident, but because their bodies aren't battling invisible storms every day. And that brings us to our last point, perhaps the most overlooked factor of all: a lack of small joys. It's easy to chase big moments, vacations, holidays, big family dinners, but those come a few times a year, if that. The rest, that's daily life. And if that daily life is dry, flat, and joyless, it drains you quietly, bit by bit. We often underestimate how powerful small joys are. A warm mug of tea, music from your youth, a conversation with the cashier who always smiles at you, watching birds from your window, feeling the sun on your face. These aren't just pleasantries, they're fuel. People who live longer tend to find pleasure in the little things. They notice them, they savor them, they build them into their routines. And because of that, they walk through life with a little more lightness, a little more laughter, and a little more reason to stick around. So if you've lost that spark lately, try this. Commit to one small joy per day. Just one. Make it a ritual, then two, then three. Eventually you'll feel it. You'll be living again, not just surviving, and that makes all the difference. Because living past 80 isn't just about avoiding death. It's about choosing life. Every single day. So where does all of this leave us? It leaves us with something quietly powerful. An invitation. Not to chase youth. Not to fear aging. But to truly live the years you have left. Whether that's 1 year or 30 more. We've talked about the hidden things that silently shorten life. Not moving enough, feeling invisible, carrying emotional weight, living without daily joy. They're not as flashy as a big diagnosis, but they chip away at you just the same. And what's so important to remember is, every single one of these things can be changed. That's what makes this message so hopeful. You don't need to start running marathons. You don't need to become a new person. You don't need to undo the past. You just need to start paying attention to the now. Stand up and stretch a little more. Let people see your smile, your story, your strength. Lay down the weight you were never meant to carry forever. And let joy, real, quiet, simple joy, find its way back into your everyday life. Because if there's one thing you take away from this video, let it be this. The best way to live past 80 is to live like your life matters now. Your life matters, not because of what you do for others, or how busy you are, or what you used to be. It matters because you're still here. You've made it through decades of life, storms and sunshine, loss and laughter. And that means you still have a voice, a purpose, a chance to create moments that matter. So, say yes more. Rest without guilt. Speak your mind. Hug a little longer. Smile at strangers. Reconnect with people. Forgive. Sing. Dance in the kitchen. Take that walk. Enjoy that bite. Make peace with your story, and don't just add years to your life. Add life to your years. You deserve that. You really do. If anything in this video spoke to you, share it in the comments. We're building a space here for wise elders, strong spirits, and hopeful hearts. Let's learn from each other, let's uplift each other, and let's keep living fully and fearlessly. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more senior-focused wellness and life advice. It helps us reach more people who need these messages, maybe even someone who's quietly struggling right now. And as always, here's to living your best life at any age. You've got more power than you think.